The United Nations has urged Ethiopia to ensure the protection of civilians as the army plans to attack the capital of the northern region of Tigray. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced a 72-hour deadline for the region's fighters to surrender or the army would attack. The Tigray's People's Liberation Front, which controls the mountainous region, has denounced the deadline and has vowed to keep on fighting. The conflict has reportedly killed hundreds and displaced thousands in recent weeks, and the UN has warned it could trigger a humanitarian crisis.
Amid a 72-hour ultimatum to surrender, forces of Ethiopia's Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, have destroyed an airport serving the ancient town of Aksum, state-affiliated media said on Monday. The town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is claimed by Ethiopians as one of the world's oldest centres of Christianity. Legend has it Aksum was once home to the Queen of Sheba, and that a church there housed the Ark of the Covenant. Its history and ruins, including 4th century obelisks from when the Aksumite Empire was at its height, have also been a major tourist draw. But today it's embroiled in a conflict that has killed hundreds, possibly thousands, and that continues to send refugees fleeing from Tigray into neighbouring Sudan.
Coming from far region.
In the border town of Hamdayet, this refugee says people were shot at by the military.
There are a lot of wounded people. There are a lot of people here suffering from malaria.
The government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed denies hitting civilians, saying they are pursuing the facilities and leaders of the TPLF. He's given the region's ruling party until Wednesday to lay down their arms or face a final assault on Tigray's capital, Mekelle. But TPLF leader Debretsion Gebremichael says that threat is a cover for government troops to regroup after suffering what he described as defeat on 3 fronts. The TPLF accuses Abiy of invading Tigray to try and dominate them. The Ethiopian government has previously accused the TPLF of atrocities during the conflict, citing reports of ethnic killings from the town of Maikadra. Claims by all sides are hard to verify because phone and internet communications have been down, and international calls for mediation have so far not gained any traction.
For more on this story, we're now joined via Skype by Ethiopian journalist Andualem Sisay Gessesse. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. This 72-hour deadline, is this a final push by the Prime Minister to settle the issue of Tigray once and for all?
Thank you, Peter. As you said, this one seems to be the final one. Because the city is very much densely populated, and the government wants to minimize the harm that it may cause, the final operation may cause on the civilians. So I don't think there will be another 72 hours because this is the second time that the government has given them surrender. So I don't expect another 72 hours. In fact, now as we speak, it is now less than 48 hours they have to surrender.
So this city, it's Mekelle, isn't it? This is the capital of Tigray. The militants, the Tigray militants, where are they? Are they in and amongst the population in Mekelle, or are they dispersed?
It's not clear because what we hear from the government side is that they are pushed back by leaving the major cities like Aksum, Shire and Adwa. These are the major big towns that the army has been claiming to set free from the TPLF soldiers and militias. So they are pushed back to Mekelle from different directions. So what I am guessing is that they are having a basis in different places in Mekelle within the people. And some of the places, as the government official today told us, is that they may use churches, mosques, universities, and schools as a base for the final battle in Mekelle.
It doesn't sound like this conflict will end as quickly as the Prime Minister would want. I mean, these militants are well armed, and some of them perhaps even well-trained because they were part of the federal army at one stage, I believe.
Yes, as you said, some of them are part of the Federal Army because they have been used by some TPLF hardliners to sabotage against their brothers and start the attack within the Northern Command in Tigray region. And that's how, in fact, the conflict started, as they admitted on their own TV station. So some of them are, as you said, were in the army, but most of them are militias and special forces, which have less experience compared to the Ethiopian army. As you see, the biggest key players here are the people of Tigray. And now, in the last 3 weeks, the army has managed to set free the bigger towns like Aksum, Adwa, Shire, and Adigrat, and the like. This tells you that the fight is not the fight of the people of Tigray. It is rather the fight of the TPLF officials, which they said the wanted ones. They are more like 167, whose arrest warrant is issued. So I don't see different. The people in Mekelle different from the people in Adwa or in Shire who welcomed the army peacefully.
So you're saying that the TPLF doesn't have a mandate in the Tigray region?
The mandate, actually, they used to have that mandate, like if they were at peace with the federal government. Now they're losing the mandate because they also oppress the people of Tigray in the first place.
Right.
They don't have that freedom that we have been enjoying for the last 2.5 years, like in Addis or in other parts of Ethiopia. So they also want this freedom. When they were in power, I mean, the most suffered ones are the Tigray people, because they lost their children during the fight between 1974 up to 1991. They are the major ones, even though there are also other people who supported their struggle to come to power. After 1991 up to 2018, until Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was elected, they were also in power. But if you see the people of Tigray, I frequently travel to different parts, including their bases in Agare Mariam in Tigray. The people are still living the same poverty, the same life when they were before the armed struggle. But the money they stole during the power is huge amount of money. Most of them took it abroad, and they enjoy that fancy life. They distribute it to the lobbyists now who are now lobbying from abroad. They send their children home. All of them have their children in Europe, America. So the people are not happy about when they run and hide from the federal court and hide in Mekelle. So I'm sure this final battle will not be that catastrophic. The government promised to take care of, but key players are the people in Mekelle. So they have to avoid themselves from those bases which they deliberately installed among the people to use them as a human shield. So that's what I think.
For a long time, the TPLF were very influential in federal politics and helped actually even create this federal system. How did they fall out with Abiy Ahmed?
That's the tricky part. So that's what makes them angry, and that's why they don't want to accept this defeat, because they thought that the chairman, the party is going to elect was another guy whom they prepared to serve them, like the previous ones who served them, somebody who can they manipulate. But the coalition between the Amhara party and the Oromo party deliberately played behind the knowledge of the TPLF leaders, and when they go into the election room, the meeting, they played the trick, and finally somebody they expected will run for the leadership declared that he will not run, and Abiy Ahmed became the chairman. So that since that day they are upset and they refuse to accept to be ruled by another, because they didn't expect. This is like a sudden days for them.
And Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed began a whole raft of reforms, and they've been trying to resist this. And in fact, basically defying him, particularly when it came to those elections that they held, even though the Prime Minister had said we can't do them because of COVID-19. What will Ethiopia look like after the next 48 hours? Let's assume that the federal forces do take Mekele. What will that mean for the TPLF and Tigray?
In my view, it's for the people of Tigray, it's a big relief, to be honest. But for those whose bank accounts are blocked, or for those affiliates who have been working with them for the last 27 years, who are now accusing the federal government for genocide and those kind of things, and sending letters to the UN and those things, who are demonstrating abroad, it's a sad news. But it's a big news for the poor farmer who is still living in poverty and who they refuse to look back for the past 27 years. It's a big victory because now the new generation will decide its own fate. You know, these people are previously Marxists, and most of them are in their 80s, 70s, and in fact, some of them are close to 90s age. So these people are still stuck in this mind of Marxism-Leninism, and they don't want change, and they want to solve everything by force. They think that the war that they fought 40 years ago is the same today. So that's why they complain when they were attacked by drones and they lose all those territories in a very short time. They thought that the war they know was still there, but technology has brought different things, and the people have also get frustrated by their leadership and the way they bring ethnic politics into the country, and even how the poor people of Tigray being treated as if they have also stolen like these big corrupt officials. So it was not good, to be honest, for the people of Tigray, for the poor, for the majority, this region. So it's a big relief, and they can elect their own leader from the rural area, somebody they choose, somebody they trust, who has the discipline and the knowledge to lead them the way they want, and they can drive their own development policies. And those who are educated Tigrayan people can come and serve their own people. Abiy regime does not have any interest to go and rule the Tigray region, you see. But that's the propaganda they are telling the rural people now. They are portraying him as if he's going to invade them. But it's not after the interim administration established by Tigrayans and by the elders are now taking over the cities liberated from the TPLF over the past few weeks. So this will continue, and after 6 months state of emergency, they will hold their own election. Nobody will intervene into their politics.
All right.
After
So,
TPLF, Ethiopia.
are there any members of the TPLF who have crossed the line and perhaps have gone towards Abiy Ahmed?
That's a very interesting question, which international media refuse to include. There are many young, progressive leaders, including in the army generals, who are now leading this battle against the TPLF leaders. So there is one, for instance, the democracy head of the Abiy administration is now one of the former TPLF members. There are also others, ministers in the federal government who used to be TPLF, but these are young and progressive leaders who said this coalition and merger of the party will help us, will advance, it will keep Ethiopia's integrity and keep everybody equally served by the system. So there are many.
Andualem, Sisay, Gessesse, thank you so much indeed for giving us those insights about the situation in Ethiopia and in particular the northern Tigray region. Thanks for your time. All right, so that's the situation. Less than 48 hours to go now. The federal forces being commanded by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, telling the Tigrayan militants they've got 48 hours to surrender effectively. Otherwise, they're going in and taking over.